Hey, it's Dr. G here, Dr. Charles, CoachMD, having some technical issues. That's why we're a little late today on Magical Monday broadcast at noon Eastern Standard Time every Monday. So thanks for joining me. Before we get started, I just want to bring to your attention that Facebook is changing the way they do things, and that could affect our page, my page, and how I come to you and how you see what I have to give you, whatever my content, if you will. So if you would like to continue to get my posts or my Facebook Lives or anything that we can connect with together, if you'd like to continue to get that, you'll need to go on to my page itself, and there's a couple tabs. There's one that says liked, and there's one that says following, and there's one that says share. You'll need to go on the following, and when you click that, you'll see there's a drop down. It says see first. This way, it will tell Facebook that you actually do care about what I have to say, that you want to see what I have to say, and so we can continue to stay in touch. It's very important. They want to make some changes in order to make it more applicable to our lives, or at least more something that you really care about. So also they're going to look for pages or friends and family that you comment on their posts a lot. So please feel free to comment on. I'd love to hear from you, but it's actually going to be more important to comment rather than just the like. So comment or share or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to start off just to give you some ideas of what changes are happening with Facebook. So what I'd like to talk to you about on this Magical Monday broadcast are blessings and curses. So what does that mean? Well, the way I look at life, everything is either a blessing or a curse, or actually what we think are blessings are actually sometimes curses. And when I talk about it in this way, January is when I said a couple weeks ago that I want January. It's the month of change. It's a new beginning, and it's a time for us to reflect on certain things in our life that maybe not going as quite as we'd like them to go, but when we look at it as blessings and curses, the Dalai Lama, I think it was, who said that sometimes getting what we don't want can be a brilliant stroke of luck. And that's because sometimes what we think is going to be a blessing turns out not to be so. But that's also about when we look to make a change, when we see kind of the grass as being always greener on the other side, it may not be so. So sometimes we want to win the Mega Millions jackpot. We want to win the Powerball jackpot because we know that that's what it's going to take for us to be happy and successful. And similarly, we see that one person that is going to be the person. And we have that, and that if that's what we're going to go for in this year. That's what's going to be part of our change this year, or even some health issues. There are obviously, when somebody is stricken with a health problem, we think of it as a curse. But I know in my career, I've seen many people who have been have been stricken with health issues, which actually has turned out to be a blessing in their life. That sounds hard to believe, but it is how we look at it and how we view that event. So for instance, I heard a story recently. I heard a woman speak whose husband was stricken with ALS. Now, certainly we would say, oh, there's nothing good about ALS. ALS, it's in the medical amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or Lou Gehrig's disease, and it's fatal. I mean, it's not, you don't get out of it alive, really. There is one gentleman, Dr. Craig, I'm going to give it a shout out to Dr. Craig, who's been living with ALS for over 20 years now, I think, because of certain things he's done in his diet and other things. But for the most part, most people don't survive that. But this gentleman has had it for 5 years, and all doctors didn't give him 1 to 2 years, more than that. And what he's doing now, he has a blog, and he's connecting with people all over the world and sharing his faith. And it's if you were to ask him, is this a blessing or a curse? I think he might even say it's a blessing. It's hard to believe that, right? So the reason why I bring this up is because when we start thinking about making changes and we look at other people and we see, oh, that person has I wish I had those characteristics, or I wish I had that person's self-discipline. I wish I had that person's luck, whatever. And you think that's all it's going to take to turn this curse into a blessing. But that's where we need to look at our special gifts, talents, skill sets. These are things that we all have, at least one of them. And it's important to understand that those are truly blessings because there are individual gifts. And there is nothing, when you act in alignment with your gifts and your talents and your skills, and that there is nothing that will make that a curse. So that is really something that is to be able to separate blessings and curse, because don't wish for something that is not consistent with what you have in you, with those special gifts, because then it does become that. But so let's look at some of the things, a blessing and curse. Okay, so blessing, sometimes a blessing of good looks cannot be, of course, me being blessed with good looks, right? No, not really. But anyway, that a lot of people have that special gift, and we look at them, wow, what a beautiful person, what a handsome person. They must have all the luck. Well, the Eagles had a song that has a line in it that says she could open the doors with just her smile. And this was something, this woman that they're singing about learned early age that her good looks actually could be used to manipulate. So actually, was it such a blessing for her to have those good looks, or was it a curse? Well, it can be a blessing if you embrace it and embody it and are humbled by it and are thankful. And that's where I get to the anecdote and how you could turn any curse into a blessing. And it's that idea of being thankful, of having gratitude. Because when you are thankful for a situation, no matter how bad it may appear, if you are thankful for the experience, no matter how hard the challenge is, if you are thankful for having the strength, and those of you who pray and ask for God or a higher power to give you something, my charge to you is to ask for the strength to learn how this so-called curse can become a blessing, because this is how we implement change. This is how we start to the wheels turning in our life, and how we can take a step forward. And many of us are so anchored and are so grounded in the misery, in the hardship, and we have defined it and anchored ourselves as though our experience is actually a curse, when it could be a hidden blessing. And there's a story that I know of. A friend of mine, well, two friends of mine were fishing with their father, and they're out there fishing, and they dropped anchor, and now they're getting ready to leave, and the boat wouldn't move. It was the anchor. They tried to get the anchor up, but the anchor was stuck, and it was snagged in some underbrush or whatever it was. It just was snagged. I don't know if anybody is a fisherman, but if you've ever casted out a line and gone, and all of a sudden you think you have a big one, but no, it's not. You're pulling, and it's snagged. So what do you do in that case? Well, there's nothing else to do but cut it. And that's what they did. They went all around, tried to move this boat around, pulling and trying to, but it wouldn't. They got the motor running, and the motor was pulling, but the boat kept going backwards. And they went all around, but they could not get it off. So what did they do? They cut the anchor. And sometimes that's what we have to do. That's all we have to do sometimes to turn that curse into a blessing. All it takes is to cut the line. It's to stop it. And so when you're thinking about making a change this month, the month of January, it's important to cut that line sometimes And does it mean that you're going to quit your job and to quit what you're doing? No. As I always say, you have to have 2 feet planted firmly on the ground before you can reach for the stars. So don't leave your job. But if you are wanting to make a change, I have a couple suggestions. One is understand that you are eventually going to make that cut. And as I talked about in past live video about keeping your eyes firmly on your path and then tapping into your gifts and talents, understanding what they are, appreciating what they are. And one thing you can do if you're preparing to, a lot of people travel to go to work, for instance, they're caught in traffic, commuting. If you add up all the times commuting, it's so long that it could occupy, if you add up the hours, probably a month or several weeks of your year. Make that time, make it so it's worthwhile to you. So make it so it's uplifting, so it's motivating. And I've been turned on to Audible, which is an app to listen to books. And you could do the same or get greatest courses or whatever. Get something that can elevate you to learn and to maybe hone in on your gifts and help you do that. And when you look at things in this way, that things could be, blessings could be curses and cursings can be blessings. If you look at it, that even so-called curses can be turned into blessings. There's nothing that can stop you. And it does start with that appreciation and that idea of gratitude. And I'm talking, I'm not just spewing out stuff. This is how I have learned in my life from my life experience. Not only my personal life, but my professional life as a doctor. I've learned and I've seen people get better from what they're experiencing, whether it's health issues, well, mainly, obviously, you think of a doctor, health issues, but a lot of people come to me with financial challenges. That's where I put my CoachMD hat on, and relationship challenges, because those are the things that affect our physical health. A lot of times, emotional pain comes out in physical pain. And I would say the majority of physical pain is locked up emotional pain. So it's important to understand these things in order to move forward. And you can make your curses, so-called curses, into blessings. And I know if you look at the fact that when I mentioned the Mega Millions before, and the Powerball, whatever, the lotteries, so many people will look at that as a blessing. But in reality, if you got what you wanted, it may not be a brilliant stroke of luck in some of those cases. So be grateful for what you have and try to turn that into a blessing and tap into your gifts and talents. And I know that's going to move you far. So that's my Magical Monday broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please comment and feel free to share it. But again, Facebook has and will be making changes. And we have to adapt. I have to adapt. And I'm, sometimes you have to, not sometimes, we always have to be flexible. Have to adjust the sails when the wind changes. So go on to my actual CoachMD Facebook page, and under the following little tab under the poster, click it, and when you choose see first, it'll make sure that you will see my my post and other things. And also, I have a personality quiz that I just started promoting, which I think is kind of fun, and I worked kind of hard on that to try to make it really match and make it worthwhile and valuable for you. Anyway, Dr. Charles signing off, CoachMD. Until next Monday at noon, be well. Bye for now.